Yeah, I am Jinesha. I am a cohort 6 student at Asian Institute of Management. My question is this financial crisis has regenerated a major question in economists whether a free capitalism should be promoted or a regulated capitalism should be promoted. As people mentioned that prudent regulation is good, but we always know when a government puts a regulation, it always overdoes the regulation, and it instead of doing good, it makes more harm to towards the economy. For US, they are trying to become more regulated by trying to put regulation on H1 visas and those things, but instead of doing good to it, it is harming it. And same is with Asian economies. They are trying to make a prudent regulation on capital inflows, but instead of helping it, it is harming it more. So whether moving forward, is regulation a good idea, or a free capitalism as suggested by Ayn Rand is a good thing to go ahead?
So I think anytime, if something I do produces an externality that I don't internalize and it harms you, then I should be subject to regulation, right? If I'm not actually taking into account how my actions impact you, then there's room for regulation. That I fully believe. We moved away from, so what we thought, I mean, if you think of the fundamental philosophy of Greenspan from Ayn Rand was that people would actually take into account their actions and they would do the right thing, and it turns out it just wasn't true. So I would never say that we shouldn't regulate. There are things that should be regulated. We do have to. Your point's a good one, in that we have to think very carefully about the regulations that we impose, and I'm sure the governments do. The thing with capital controls is, they might be looked at as a relatively easy source of funds, right? So you can tax the foreigners, and that's perfectly fine. The issue is when it becomes counterproductive, right? And so the governments will always have to revisit this. And the problem is, too often we don't revisit our decisions. We make a decision and it just stays there, and we don't step back and think it through again. And that's where I think it becomes problematic. I remember back in 2006 when we were at the BIS in Hong Kong, or the HKMA, and Thailand put on capital controls one day, just like that. I think it was a 15% tax on equity inflows, and realized that they made the wrong decision, and the next day just completely reversed it. And so it has to be well thought out, and more importantly, has to be revisited. I think there should be, like a lot of things, there should be a sunset date on these things where they expire unless there's a good reason to continue them.